Yes, Vox is here. I hear you, buddy. Is that, let's see. I think this is okay. If I hit this button, why do they do this to me in Japanese? It's gotta be this. Can I hear you? Uh-oh. I hit a button I didn't even know I was supposed to. The show. Let's see. No. Fox, you got to turn your camera on. Let's see. Got to turn your microphone on too. Shit, I hit the wrong button too. Vox, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. Word.
Oh, dude, yeah. All right, awesome. Wait, is it still going? Nice.
And I get
weird. I gotta hit this tap to speak. Hold on. Oh wait, hold on. Here we go. Start video.
Right. That's what I'm trying to get your video going. Yeah, right. There you go. It turned off. Try it again. It'll hit. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh, dude, what? Oh, shit. Okay.
All right. Cool. At least one person on ain't bad. Trust me. One is all you need.
I'll try not to swear. I mean, that's like I said the S word. It's recording. I gotta eliminate that from my vocabulary.
Well, it's one thing. It's one thing to want to do it, but it's another thing to use the technology. So, you know, as long as we're familiar with it, then it's easier.
This is my first time ever doing something like this, like a Zoom live. I've done a couple like Facebook. You know, I think you've seen actually probably most of them or all of them. I did Facebook Live a couple times, but I've never done something like this. So this is awesome. This is awesome,
dude. Definitely. So what's it normally like when you are, because you are sometimes training people, right? Is that what you're doing?
Right. I'm doing the athletics. So mostly, for the most part, most of the people I tend to interact with, they want more or less really weight loss. There's a lot of people that have struggled with their whole life where with world having access to all kinds of foods and the processed foods being cheaper, easy to get, you know, easy to satiate your appetite for eating that. That has adverse effects. And a lot of people didn't have the proper education on what's good, what's not good. They just ate what's in the household. And then when they grow up, it's like, oh, I'm used to eating that, so I'm going to eat that. And then later on, like people will see me and they're like, oh, you're in shape. How do you, hey, they just ask. And then especially around here, when people see you in shape, they're like, oh, how did you get in shape? Or how do you do that? And then that sure enough rolls into the conversation of, well, I do it. And I mentioned, hey, I train people too. And they're like, oh, well, you train people. Can you show me results? And I'll show them a few results. And they're like, can I do that? I'm like, anyone can do it. Literally anybody can exercise, get in better shape. So that's what that's the main thing I specialize in. You can specialize, but being a martial artist, I do a little of everything. I lift weights. I do the martial arts too. So with that, it's a whole other realm of athletics where I could take any level, brand new athlete, newbie, beginner, intermediate, to even advanced guys. I have a bodybuilder friend who I tell you, I'm in decent shape, but he makes me look really tiny, how huge he is. But he'll still message me. He's good on his own, but he'll still message me once in a while, like, hey, what do you think about this supplement? Or what do you think about doing this, adding this exercise to this? And, you know, so that's still pretty cool to be able to have after 15 years with knowing the guy, and he dwarfs me in size. He still hits me up once in a while to ask for my advisement. So that's pretty cool. But so yeah, that's pretty much mostly what I do. I mean, I've got a part-time job. I have like a regular normal job, but that's what I'm passionate about. So that's where my real self comes out and thrives the most, is when I'm helping other people benefit, you know? Yeah, I'm glad you asked. I get fired up about it. I could talk about exercise like all day long.
Well, all right. Well, there's like a few aspects with that where I would say right now during this pandemic type situation, right? What are some ways you've been disrupted? And it's about, right? It's not that I'm on this webinar to try to tell people what I want them to do, but I believe it's what they're already doing. But at the moment, people have heard, oh, it's the pandemic, so maybe some things we can't do. So right now, like, what can we do? And the thing we're doing is like a collaboration, right? And the one thing that you're bringing to the table is your personal brand. So I asked somebody these 5 questions the other day in regards to this. It's like, what's your current daily schedule? But the next question is like, what's the schedule you want to have? And then it includes those next 3 questions, which is like, what are your hobbies and the things you want to do and your dream? So it's like this, it is focused on you. And the thing is like, why is because the philosophy is that your passion, like you just said, right? We have passion. So it's more about how you're going to have this passion basically be unfettered. We're tapping into it, but we're guiding it so it's a controlled burst in the right way it needs to be, where you're going to get this elevation height. And then it's like, imagine your life now, if you're thinking, okay, I need money, so I got to do this thing and I'll do it to get the money. But like take money out of the equation. And when you're taking money out of the equation, they're not just doing what you're doing to get money, doing what you want to do. I'm telling you that this is how we're going to get more money you could get, because we're talking money like a business owner and not a money as an employee, because you are the owner of the space of your personal brand. Right. And you might want to do, and this is what we're talking about online. We see influencers, we see people who are like, but those people, they're making the money. We see online, they're driving Lambos, but we also hear from them that sometimes it's just a fake image. They're not really that rich. They might have just like rented a Lambo just to take a picture.
They kind of project it to draw like more of it to them.
Right. It's like the Hollywood illusion, but now the Hollywood illusion, like we're supposed to get out of the Hollywood illusion, but they go right back into it and they turn this great reset opportunity into the same prison they were in of idol worship, right? We're talking idol worship, right? We're talking like people who are they're not actively like consciously sinning, but they're not exactly living within the realm of how we should be, in the sense of not morally how you should be, but these God's laws, they're not there to like stop you. They're there to elevate you, to make this world heaven.
To bring you to that point.
Right. And we talk about we talk about a fight against Satanism, right? Okay, but that's again like a word. What we're doing is we're understanding the enemy. We're not thinking it's an enemy, because it's only us versus ourselves in a way, right? So
an enemy when we make it an enemy.
Right. So like, especially if you're in a church and it's like they want to just point to somebody and say, get them, right? Like you're an attack dog. But you're not an attack dog, you're the God. Right. Okay. So that's what Satanism is. It is attempting to be a God on this earth. And I'm not saying that. Now, some people could say that is a sin because God is God and you are not God. And while that is true, we're talking about a value of 2 extremes in finding the balance. And if you're going to say, no, finding a balance between God and Satanism, that's not right. But no, what we're saying is that, dude, because
a living, in scripture, it talks of, the living God, right? And having the spirit of God inside of you. Now, with that, unfortunately, many of us, for example, me, I have children, I have 2 kids, I have a house,
Right.
I have responsibility, and not just responsibility, but the way the world is designed, that's
Yes.
not my fault. I was born and brought into it. So
Yes.
harboring that spirit of God, we use that through this reality so we can handle those responsibilities. Our worldly responsibility, it's separating, like you said, idolism, separating the fact of not worshiping so much the world, but having the responsibility that we owe to the world to still use that spirit to build the world better. And that's where, even in scripture, it speaks of building heaven on earth. That doesn't happen overnight. That doesn't necessarily, there are certain people chosen to help guide that.
Dude, we were here on earth for a reason, and to feel mortal. And even, I love this line out of the movie Troy. I've seen a lot of movies, but that's good for reference. But I'm saying, he says to this, the girl he's with, he's like, you worship these gods, but let me tell you something they don't tell you. The gods envy you, because everything that you do, because you're mortal, is so much more of a choice, and so even if we get away from religion and we talk about what other people who aren't religious talk about, which is science, we talk about something called the observer. And when you observe something, you change it, and especially if you have judgment. Yeah, so that's another thing. The people with judgment, they're judging, this is good, this is bad, but non-judgmental is religious in a way, because you're like, I'm not judging because God judges, okay? I don't need to judge.
Right.
You're more looking at something, in an energy perspective, right? And so when we observe, we could observe a number of different things when we talk about freedom, but what the devil does is he gets us to observe what they want us to observe for the sleight of hand. We're telling you, hey, look at this. And while you're doing this, I'm doing that. But we can say, I'm not looking at what you're looking at. I'm looking at what I'm looking at, because I'm not easily swayed. And before I meet people who tell me to look at what they want, I'm bringing with me a context of where I'm focusing on what I'm doing to raise vibrations, essentially. Okay, it's definitely alchemic that way, right? Where we're doing what's called transfer. They say a lump of coal becomes a diamond. How? By pressure and time. And this pressure and time, and we have symbolism like the phoenix. The phoenix burns away, right? And what is you're left with is the absolute purity, the purest substance. So yes, we're becoming pure, and we can only go so far as an individual, though. But what we also need to do is to unite with this other. Just like if you have gold and you're breaking it down, you're gathering it to other gold. And gold is the most purest metal. Gold won't mix with an impure substance. So this is long been a reference, literary reference, that other societies like the Greeks, right? How, and as a matter of fact, this history we're a little bit hidden from, because our United States, we have the image that it's like 200 years built on freedom, but what we run into is an elite of the society who seems to be at the top, but they're using references from like ancient Egypt and Sumeria and Greece. So, and people who study the Bible, they have this sense of history that, actually myself, I never really got to study the Bible in a sense, because I always felt that when I tried to read it, I couldn't understand it. And I felt like that was done intentionally. Like I would have to then defer to somebody to translate it for me and be reliant on them. And, there's
a lot of metaphorical statements that without the proper wisdom, and like you said, living as that mortal, right? Living as that human, it's a unique experience because we're literally taking all those values that you just expressed, which are literally all spiritual. They're very spiritual. They're beyond the mental. They're all within that observer. And as the mortal being, we have two ways we can go, maybe a third way, but there's that one route to that goal. And we use this physical thing to physically, you said throughout me, this is really profound stuff because it comes with a whole multitude of revelations that the soul knows and the spirit knows. The mind is still like you said, it gets distracted. Sometimes like the social media draws you to others want you to think instead of looking at it through that observation and getting to that whole, what do I do next? Now, what do I do? How do I do this? And when you're just thrown into the world, it's like, whoa, it becomes overwhelming where when you start to really like wake up to a lot of it, it's like, man, there's so many things that want to take you so many directions, but it's like you take like a left turn, and then like another left turn, and then you're like, wait, that's the spot I was just standing though, you know? And it's like, how do I move forward instead of all these continuous turns over and over and over? And man, that's an amazing perspective.
But this is the thing, is that right now we're carrying on a conversation, right? Now, what happens after we get off this Zoom and we have ourselves? And what I believe is it's possible that we're developing a conversation like with the universe, that even if we're not with anybody, we know what to do because there's signs. Like, and this is also something that's kind of like a lost art. Like a bird will fly by, and like, what color was the bird? What direction was it going?
I do that all the time.
Right?
Yeah. And now I get a lot. None of the same color, but once in a while I got that one or two that's like, hey, you, what's up? You know,
right, dude. So look, but there's ways. Okay, so what I'm saying is that these 12 categories, right, which, you know, on this Zoom thing, if I could use it a little better, I would know how to look at a document that I have, which would show it better than this, right? But I'll get better at using this stuff. Well, it's all in Japanese for me for some reason, and I don't know.
Wow. Sometimes like what's really great that's helping me, when I first started the whole, like they say, trust the process, right? But like I'm a bit of a person who's lost my trustful side, because it's like you start the process and you're like, hold up though, this is like so much. And like when I first started, it was overwhelming. I would get overwhelmed so quick because my brain would be like, wow. And my spirit's like, you know this stuff. Come on. And my brain's like, hold
look
up
at you now, right now.
And now I'm like becoming comfortable with it all. Yeah.
But look how right now you're walking as you're listening and talking, and go into that a little bit. Like right now, why not just sit down? Right. But I do that too. I do that, but I've done it. But now I've done it less, that I'm a little bit clear about what I'm doing. I'm getting a stillness about it because it's now becoming clear. But it's not just, it was clear in the past, but now it's more clear because of outside forces, where it seems that people talk about terms like Christ's return, right? People talk about terms like Antichrist. People talk about these things that people who are religious talked about. But now it's like we heard in the end times that good would be called bad, and the inversion, right? That's what Satanism does too. Okay, we're not talking about the Satanism I was talking about that, but we're talking about that actual misguided Satanism of people who are sitting there mad, like like actually
some people are playing chess while most of the brains are programmed to think in checkers, one step at a time, where it's like, no, you got multiple pieces that move different ways and the whole board, and not just chess, but outside that chessboard, there's a whole other circle around it that you guys don't see just yet. That's really doing a whole other.
Well, let me ask you, does it strike you weird that I'm in Japan? Like, is that any sort of, what does that appear? What does that have any curiosity? Like, what happened? How'd you get
a lot of curiosity?
All right.
Yeah, a lot of curiosity, but also like a whole, if I'm going to be honest, it opens up, and I'm being honest because I'm built this way as a defense mechanism.
That's what I know. That's what we're going to be honest
on all things. Like I always have a bit of shredded doubt on everything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've got a, well, how can you bounce around from place to place? How do you get from here to there? The way you get from there. And if you're here one day, but then you're here the next day, and it's like, well, what drives you to do that? How do you do that? Why do you do that? I'm still like, I walk everywhere I go. And it's like, it takes me so long. And like, even though I walk really fast, it's like, man, I can barely get 2-3 miles in my town before I'm like, I got to go back home. I need to be home. Like, I can't.
Well,
the comfortability of being away from home is like, I don't have that so much either. So it's like,
So how do you imagine Japan to be? What do you think would happen if you came here? Like, what would you be into?
Oh, wow. I don't, I could be honest. I don't know if I got to look at it that way. I envision Japan a lot. And I see Japan in a dualistic way still, where I see multiple cities that are highly technological, very advanced, more advanced than here.
That's what I thought.
Buildings that have, screens on every building that display things, vending machines, all types of awesome equipment that we don't got here, and other ways, and even technologies of, speaking of utilizing advanced technologies, building technologies more advanced is an open concept there, where here it's like, you talk about it, not only do we sometimes get mocked for it here, but it's like, people are like, oh, you're nuts, we're not going to do that, or that's too good of a thing. People, and then the other side of Japan that I see is outside of that, the rural side, that they value the nature, and it ties right into the cities, because those pieces that are out there are the heart of those cities, the heart and the blood flow that fuels those cities to keep going. And I just see, and I see a lot of beautiful landscape, a lot of beautiful flowers on trees, beautiful trees, the rivers, the grass, and a lack of what we have here. We have a lot of littering in America. People throw their trash out the car, they throw it everywhere, and they don't even value the own homes that they live in, that they're willing to throw their, like, if they, I've had my own vices in the past. I'm not judging someone for smoking, but people smoke a lot of cigarettes, and even that, they feel comfortable disposing of it right then and there, no matter where they are. The earth is their trash can. And that is so painful when I walk places, and I'm like, man, like, if I had the time to pick all this up, I would. And as I have before, I would spend some time to pick up some things and throw it away. I go walk back home, there's more again. So it's like, it just, people don't cherish the earth anymore. And that's the main thing. It's like, man, I'd love to get out of here because of that. That's I've always cherished the earth, the ground, all the, and it's hard being that type of person where you feel like one of a kind, in that.
Okay, what if you were the mayor, let's say? What if your job was the mayor, and then you had a whole different sense, like, what if you didn't even walk to school because someone drove you to your office?
Now, see, what I would do if I was the mayor, I would immediately communicate with the county as far as that trash. Man, I would have a budget that would be specific. And even if it had to come out of my paycheck, I would have a budget that was designed to have a team of people that pick up the trash, and even focus on plastics in here, cardboards in there, metals in here. And I would develop a new form of economy. I would add to the
So,
economy.
so
That
we
would
have,
add value to the economy.
we have that system that you could enact those ideas. And while you're doing that, it could be filmed that this is what you're doing. And then this is what I'm showing people in Japan that my network of people were doing, because we're talking about a smart city. And it's not just a smart city, it's our brand of smart city.
I think it really is a flower pot of a town. Granted, there are some bugs that walk around that leave their pieces behind, but there are a lot of golden seeds in here that are waiting for that extra push to want to burst out and grow up as I'm growing with me, but they don't know how. And, we kind of lacked a bit of public leadership, really. We don't have so many, as far as a public figure for our town, we really don't have it. We've got a lot of individual small businesses, maybe a gym here and there, a dude here or there, where they've got their own little network of maybe 10, 20 people that, maybe 100 people on Facebook see the post of the day, but they don't collaborate. They don't connect. They don't have that link. Hey, why don't we work together on this? I'll come meet you. We can talk about it and do that. And I'm willing to do that. I would love to do that. Having that extra drive and thinking to do that would be it. And then we can absolutely bring in, like you said, like make it the smart city. We can bring in that. And then you were talking about the birds earlier, right? And the signs. And if the city's cleaned up, as far as not just enacting good measures for that, but when we clean it up as a community where people also feel that responsibility of, this is my home, I should also cherish it. Maybe I'll take an extra 10 steps and put this in the local recycling bin versus just throwing it somewhere. That raises their vibration. They start to elevate with us, and we might see more bluebirds instead of other birds, more frequently, things of that nature. Like I mean that, and I see the signs myself, and it's one of those, when you see some of those signs, it's hard to really show somebody, because unless you got your camera out right then and there to record it, and then somebody you show, like, then I got to get like 100 of them at once, and then it's like, look how many, and then it's like, some of those signs are meant for everyone, but it brings up a good point of also directing the community to see themselves of, living a more clean life will also clean up the types of signs you see, less heartbreak, less relationship issue, maybe more peace at home with the family when you raise that vibration. Because being in that negative, that low vibration, man, that rubs off, and it makes you more susceptible to being agitated all the time or aggressive, because something that comes up that stirs up your inside. It doesn't match,
Well, what are you going to do? Let's see, it's the nighttime there, right?
Right. Yeah.
So what are you doing tomorrow? What are you doing? What's your schedule?
You know what? I actually have an open schedule. I work today. I started training on, actually, my brain. I got a new job today, which is wonderful. I'm so excited about it too, because it's the job I just had. I make a little more money than the job I just had, so I'm stepping up. It's a bit of a better environment. It's a more helpful business. So it's really, really amazing. And so I've just been stoked all day about that. I've been so excited. And now tomorrow I have off. So I was one of those where I was like, I'm just gonna take it as it goes type of day. I didn't really, that's the one thing, when you asked those questions earlier, it immediately hit me that I'm like, man, I haven't been setting a schedule. I haven't been, this is my agenda, these are my goals, wake up at this time no matter what, and get moving on that. I haven't done that. And I definitely need to do that. Absolutely. And I might just do that for tomorrow.
Yeah. And I'm saying tomorrow, like I'm saying, whatever you're doing, what you're going to do tomorrow, the things you're doing, it's not just like how you feel you want to do, but I'm saying everything you do, I can use it. I can use it because the people here are very interested in you, where you go, what you do, your life. They would study you. Like, they don't. Okay, have you heard about that library where people are renting a person to hear about?
And that's in Japan too.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, like,
when I saw that, it brought tears to my eyes. I'm like, that's so beautiful, man. Like,
because people,
yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Again, when we talk about the balance, right? Like, people love books, fine. They want to read, it's great, but books are dead. They're not living things. And we as people are alive. And there's something to be said for us living. And when we get people to pay attention to us, but we're not doing it because of the same reasons the people scamming are, like, look at me while I scam you. It's look at me, and I've taken the preparation time. Yeah, and I've done the preparation and time. I've bled so that when you do focus on me, I've thought about the reasons why. Like, I've sacrificed for this. I've chosen this. I've said no to other things because I discerned what would actually be the thing that would allow me to carry out the basic potential we have to, like, you know how great you could be, how amazingly high level you could be. And it's like, and people think like, oh, we see this Elon Musk, we see these Bill Gates, these are the people that are great. Me, oh, I could never do that. No, it's like you even more can do that because those people are not free anymore. Actually, they're on the spotlight, man. It's like they can't do anything without somebody like asking for an autograph or checking with them. You know, right now you're under the radar, dude. You are ink. You know what I'm saying? It's like you play this role. Dude, do you know how many people are in third world countries like would envy you? Like, they would kill to be you. And we see our own situation. We don't necessarily see it that way. We're seeing our own problems, how, you know, and sometimes we want to escape. Yeah, sometimes we want to escape somewhere, right? But it's like, if you really got into this, you know, stillness about how great you could be. And I'm saying that I've prepared a way. I don't know how to say it to people, really. It's like, you know, because I don't,
I feel a lot of the things that are unspoken. Like, we have this unspoken language that you can only really hit when you elevate that vibration. You eliminate distractions and the other issues and the worldliness, and you really, that stillness brings you to a point of just,
well, dude, right now, because that's what our conversations are, dude. They're the getting in synchronization, right? Like, synchronized movement. It's not like, you know, it's not like a superficial, like, hi, how are you doing? And we're passing the time, but we don't really want things to change. We're talking like life-changing conversation that in fact does, because like we look at our phones. I don't know if you've ever plugged your iPod into a computer and the iPod will say synchronized, meaning like, right? Okay. So like people do that. Dude, like people too, man. We're talking about getting on the page type synchronized, but synchronized is also time. So I'm saying your daily schedule, it has the possibility where you're like, why am I going to do this and not that? I feel the synchronization of doing this, where my activity, we're talking about kill 2 birds with 1 stone, kill 20 birds with 1 stone, because my activity, I'm consciously doing, I know I'm being tracked and traced. I know I'm on display. My information is being taken from me unconscious while I'm babbling away. No, I'm consciously getting my info I'm taking and getting value from, because I'm visiting a business and I'm saying, look, it knows I'm here. Let's ride that dragon. Like, let's show people that I'm here, and at the same time promote my personal brand, promote your business.
It's one of those things that makes hard to describe how much sense it makes, because it just makes more sense than anything else that you see, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Like you're saying, we're in this world. It's not our fault. The world's the way it is. So we either can use it, abuse it, or be abused by it. And
I want even better.
Vibration and brings heaven to it.
But dude, it's got problems, but the problems it has, we needed to have them because we've been given the ability to affect these problems, and they have to be displayed to show others the way we're affecting others so that they could affect them too. And
I mean, like a necessary evil, as they call it.
Dude, like, it's our time. Dude, it's our time, essentially. Like, I'm 41, you know, a 50-year-old, a 30-year-old, they're not seeing it the way a 40-year-old is seeing it, right? A 41-year-old with 3 kids. I hear you've got a small kid. My youngest is 6, so I'm just getting out. He's still young, but my oldest is like 11. So I'm getting to the point where I could get my freedom again at some point, but I haven't had my freedom for a long time. I've been locked down with kids. And, you know, but you change, dude, when you can support a family and a kid and do your thing. That's awesome. You know, like, dude, I'm telling you, there is a Christian element that, I mean, it's not like I've ever, you know, I don't know. We don't talk about like, I'm a Christian, you're a Christian, because it's the same way Japanese don't talk about I'm a Buddhist, you're a Buddhist, because there's a cultural element. But you hear about what made America the best country was that cultural element. And other countries, they try to emulate it, but there's nothing like the original. Like, so there's this America patriotism type thing. And, you know, like when I heard Trump, you know, talk about things, there was a reaction that some people just didn't have, but some people were like really negative towards it because they perceived everything he was saying was this and that. But some people are not political or whatever. But it's like, I have studied politics. I used to do this UN thing. I was trying to be like an ambassador. I almost went to like West Point. There is a political element that I did want to be an ambassador, but it's not like you want to sell your soul to go join the establishment, or do you really want to truly do without the establishment as an individual, bring in what you know the world needs? And that's what I feel like is so genuine, real, that
a whole third element to it that should exist. It exists in a place that hasn't been brought to the physical realm yet. That third side to the battle, or whatever anyone want to call it, however they want to metaphorize, whatever the existence of it. And that's where I've stood my whole life, is that third side of it. Like you may have seen even in if you look at symbolism, because I know you're into symbolism a lot, there's even a very ancient symbol, the triskelion, where it's got the 3 spirals that are linked together. And there is that third side that is unspoken of. It exists, and it's almost in a way what America was founded on, the breaking away from control mechanisms and having the freedom to be who you want, be what you want, follow your dreams, and have the actual opportunity to capitalize literally upon those dreams and make it real. But like you said, that element of camaraderie and patriotism and love for thy neighbor has kind of sizzled out a little, and as that sizzles out, the structure doesn't have that fuel that it should have, because the structure is fueled by some old, what deem old school values. And people are, yes, things change. I'm for change, but some of that, if we dissolve all of it, the structure is going to dissolve with it. And now there's good and bad to that. But what if you dissolve the structure without anything else there? All
Well,
that's going to remain as a whole. So that's where
So you and
our work too.
when you talk about those three, right? It's you and I. You make up one extreme, I make up one extreme, and there's the middle path, which is like the negotiation, right? So
right.
And so when you also hear about music, we talk about marching to the beat of your own drum, meaning that that beat that's laid down is the foundation for what later other instruments hear and join in to create a groove, you know? So I'm saying, like, even though this webinar, whatever, right, is just you and me, it's totally enough, because all things start with a seed, right? And planting a seed. And yeah, we could be having this conversation not on Zoom, but we are having this conversation on Zoom. It is being recorded. And when I say recorded, I mean that I have an ability to take this conversation and share it, right?
And I'll tell you, if you choose to do that, I'm comfortable with that. I'm an open book. I'm a human book. I've got nothing to hide.
Dude, the transparency is the thing, is that, you know, we are what the interactions of people and governments should be. And government only should get involved when there's something that, like, we can't do ourselves. But we also talk about, like, right, we see Facebook after it has now like billions of people that now the securities, the lockdowns gets in, but Facebook used to only be like 100,000 people and people thought it was all free. So we see at the beginning stages of anything, we get free, but as anything progresses, things become a little bit controlled. So there always has to be the sprouting of new life, just like people, we grow, we die, you know, it's like this, such is the nature of life. And I really think this is the next thing that's what I'm talking about. These kids, we love them. You try having your kid when you're in some corporate board meeting, that no one got time for a kid, right? Like these childless people, like we can't accept them as being, you know, they're weak. They can't even handle a kid, you know, they can't even handle.
Many of them, unfortunately, I've heard the stories, they like abandon them, or they just don't have that family relationship. And sometimes, you know, they use the excuse, well, I didn't have it growing up, so I shouldn't, you know. And it's just, that's, to me, that's selfish. I could never,
it's the divine feminine and the divine masculine in each individual, and it has to be a balance between that too. And when we're men, when we get married, when we have kids, there's part of us, we merge with that other element, like that feminine, right? You know, like, but women do too. When they have become a mom and they're with us, they merge with that masculine in us. Like to be unchanged by it is to be unaffected by it, would be like, so like you're an impenetrable wall that it doesn't permeate.
That unpenetrable wall doesn't have I mean, it might have a vibration, but that energy signature completely undetectable, and it can't grow. The growth has to come in with water from the outside. Well, the air the tree doesn't produce, the air, the breeze.
Well, it's got its positives, it's got its negatives. And that's what I'm saying. Like those people that do work that corporate jobs, they need to be like that, because they can't let things get in and out, right? But when we're talking about having a relationship with the universe, we're not just focused on a low vibration. When you talk about frequency and the way that light moves, the larger the cross, what were you, the trough and the crest, what are you talking about? The larger the vibration, the more of a diverse population you can appeal to. And what I am in Japan right now is unique that other Japanese people can't even do, is that I can connect to the youngest, the babies, I can connect to the oldest, all as like an English teacher. Not even Japanese people can do that, because when you're in Japan, you're limited to your age group of, your peers. You would never talk to someone who's an elementary school person. You just wouldn't, unless you had a kid. It's like, yeah. So as a result, though, people get lonely is the thing. Like,
what heard that marriage, this is what we hear in the news, but we hear marriage is becoming less common. There's more single,
right.
That new span of, and what in a way, I mean, I of course I look at it as a double-edged sword. I'm like, well, that's great that the population isn't possessed so heavily by the lustful spirit. Sounds like they got some good self-control, and that's so admirable. And like,
there's some parts of that,
and that's some strength. But at the same time, it's like, how are they going to survive, continue, and replicate the society? And that's where it's like, it's like I see that, and I'm like, there are problems too that could be solved through both our network, by bringing in, like you said, by bringing in that middle ground where you over there have your your values, your background, connection. Then I come in with what I have here, and we can bring the best of the both together.
When you have the parents and you have the kids, right? The parent obviously has a different point of view than the kid. The kid wants what the kid wants. The parent is the one to say no, and the kid is like, why not? But the parent knows something. Right. And when I hear certain people, they sound like they're the kids. Like they sound like they don't sound like they're in the parent mindset, because the parent mindset understands to not let certain things occur, because, right. And it's like, if you're a childless adult and you've never had a kid, then you're never going to develop that. And I think certain governments like that. So I'm saying that when you're a billionaire, when you're a trillionaire, you become like a social engineer, essentially. You're seeing the world where there's too many people, and these people are infringing upon my money, and I can't have that. And they almost have no choice, because when in capitalism, if you have something, if you're not always growing it, you're dying, essentially. Right. And some people, they don't want to like let their money stream die and even get a new one. They'll just keep their gravy train growing. And even if there's a better technology, they'll destroy it. We see this with something called med beds. We see people getting cancer and doing chemo. This is all business. You don't need chemo. They could cure it other ways, but they don't want to cure it other ways. They want to keep the money going, right? But do you know, though, that even if somebody has something bad happen to them, it's one thing to say you're a victim. It's another thing to recognize, look, I'm not a victim. I was actually contributing to this bad thing that happened unknowingly, because but now I see. Now I see
an opportunity in that.
Yeah, well, now I see that I was, when you take responsibility, you take the power. If you're a victim, you have no power. So, people reveal themselves by what they say. And so when someone's complaining, then it's like they're not improving things, right? And there's no reason to complain.
Right.
Yeah, when the buck stops with me, and actually I'm living, like, if you think about your genealogy, your great-grandparents, your grandparents, all these generations of people, you're here because of them in a way. And it's like, there's so much to muster of the resources. You
My
actually
son
have
goes,
so much going for you, dude. I'm
yeah,
always here. I'm online. There's no
yeah.
reason for
You're
you
very
to
easy to
be.
get a hold of, which is not common, and there aren't many out there that are this wise that have the a lot of them, like you said, they hold it, they keep it inside, and like I understand where you come from, because when you want to make the world a better place, you got to be careful sometimes with who you open up to, because they'll be like, oh yeah, but they're really looking to like get a foot on top of you, like, oh,
Right.
I know what he knows now, boom, corner them, and then don't let them grow. And even still, no one
Dude,
can hold us down, but we kind of fool ourselves into thinking that that foot's so heavy. What am I, when really it's like you're already showing up above them. Just wake up, stop letting that foot stop.
dude, as I'm in Japan, right? The obvious choice people assume is I'm an English teacher. And yes, I was an English teacher, but I also used to do this job where I was a consultant. Well, I would call Japanese companies, I would discover the English speaking engineers, I would steal them, I would introduce them to foreign businesses doing business in Tokyo, who now get this Japanese engineer that's going to take their sales, and they give this Japanese engineer a higher salary, a better like environment where they're treated like they're a manager and paid like one too. Whereas in a normal Japanese company, you don't get these, and they have a seniority system. So if you're 35, you still have to kiss ass to somebody who's 45, and you're not going to get like a high salary. Yeah, the way they're real cheap here, so they don't it's not they're cheap, it's just they keep people very frugal, like very very short leash type
Just
thing.
enough to be happy, comfortable, so you're not out there chasing the dream.
Yeah, and you don't want for anything, because they feed you, but they feed you in their cafeteria where they can control the cost. You know what I mean? And they house you, but in their apartment where they can control the cost. It's very much like, yeah, they develop the systems where they know what you need. Like but people stay very humble. Like even in a Japanese house, you're sitting on the floor, and like a bamboo mat that still smells like the bamboo, but it's like,
Yeah.
no,
I love that smell too.
dude, I was in the ninja, dude, you would love the ninja training stuff here, man.
Oh, I would love that. It's something that like I've now in America we have something that it's not very widespread, and also it's probably nowhere near understood as good as over there, but they call it ninjutsu. It's kind of like a westernized version of combining karate with like ninja aspects. And I've had a little bit of partaking in that through the years, until I realized that it's very hard to find a really good teacher. And now I'm 31, but I've done martial arts since I could walk.
But dude, let me tell you more about what this ninja is. This ninja is actually passing information, and that's what. And when you're here and you see the way the Japanese landscape with these tight mountains, the training of running up the mountains, that's what it's all about. Yeah. Like, dude, I've been running up mountains for years now. Like,
I gotta get out there someday and experience that, because that would.
Well, dude, when we're passing on information, like I'm telling you, your communities, that thing, I can't tell you how much you have the blueprint and the tools that we could really be calling businesses. You could be running this town. I freaking telling you, it doesn't matter what the mayor.
I do believe that.
Dude, it doesn't matter what the mayor does, because we're in a great reset. It's like hitting the reset button. What people think is controlling things is all a facade. It's all paper. Dude, you're the one, because I'm going to meet these companies, dude. You don't understand, and I'm not saying anything bad about you. Anybody doesn't understand that the manufacturing here was all because after World War II, this place was destroyed and they bounced back to become the third largest economy. That didn't just happen. You know what I mean? You got countries like
The bounce
France,
back takes heart and courage to bounce back. Some
dude,
people
but
hit rock bottom and they like, I'm gonna stay here. And they're like, it's
they
too
don't
much.
want to leave Japan. Yeah, they don't want to go.
Right.
They go to America and they're like, you guys are fucking crazy. Like, we don't want any bit of that. Sorry, I didn't mean to curse at people hearing
No,
me. It's like, what do we want to go to? Americans are like, you want to be free, right? Come on, we got the freedom. They're like, dude, you guys are insane. I don't want anything to do with you.
yeah. I I've been here my whole life, and like I've always had a bit of a sense of like feeling a little out of place because it was the whole, I've always been that a little bit different.
All right, dude. But they would visit you. They would go to the places you visit, and you on display are doing something, and you're just like those marketer influencers that they see doing the Lambos, but you're better, dude. Like, you'll get those Lambos if we stick with it, actually.
Yeah.
It's like, because when they realize, when I show you what I'm connected to in Japan with the companies can be building industries that eventually those suit and tie guys, they're going to want to get that. They're going to be looking at you like, how the hell did this guy become our boss, essentially? Because, because those guys with the suit and ties, they only come to something after it's already established, right? But they don't see the nuts and bolts of what into the foundation. It's kind of like wives too. Wives want the money. They don't care where you get it. Just, like, they don't want to hear your business plans. They don't want to hear anything from you. It's like, shut up.
On the way.
It's like, shut up, give me the money. And in a way, we do need to give that to our women. We can't be talking to them about our dreams and stuff because we got no one to talk to. That's not their fault. They don't want to see that. That's like weakness to them. And they can't do anything anyway. They have a very strict sort of boundaries about what they can do. And even when they go become the CEOs of these companies, they didn't start the company. They can run the company better than the guy could, but they couldn't start the company because they didn't have what it takes to like go through the crap of, it's like humiliating almost, the crap you go through. But only a hungry man that's hunting, he'll go through the mud if he knows that the light in the tunnel is there, dude. And I'm telling you, it's like, I saw the light of the tunnel for like 20 years, but I'm getting there finally. And I'm telling you, now I'm at this stage where a guy like you, it's like, you could totally help me like so much, but you could get rewarded for helping me too. And like, I don't get many people clicking on my stuff or taking interest in it. And I know it's fine. It's not that but it has to be come across to people in a way that matches what they see right now. And yeah, it is money and things like that, but you could go online and see a whole bunch of people that look more successful than me telling you that money. But if you clicked on their offers, you'd find to get what they got, you got to pay money. You got to have money. And I'm always broke, it's like, I don't always have a credit card or like, and they treat money so much like, oh, you got to, just pay me $1,000, go ahead. Like, they don't actually appreciate it because they're just sort of in this Hollywood fantasy that's not even real, and it's like, those people will be like, oh, I talk to them to see if they have money, and if they're broke, I don't talk to them anymore. It's like, I want people I've met a few. Yeah, like, I want broke people, actually.
It's almost like those are some of those beat downs that you go through. They're leaving a little heartbreaking because you'll meet a couple people and say, man, they seem powerful, they seem great, or like they might have a little dark cloud over them, but not only can I pull them out of that and give them love, but give them real value, and we can grow together. and then they like shoot you with an arrow of like, you don't got money, you ain't good enough for me. And man, that stings for someone like me. That hurts because it's like I've got the other value. I've got the personability that I can
Right.
bring to the real world, person to business, and it not seeing it valued has been, well, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep fighting. I'll find somebody that knows how to value that. And I didn't give up. Yeah, I kept going. And like then I met you and I'm like, man, like you really do value people. And that's where we can really transform the
Well,
game.
it's like a talent scout, is that I'm saying. If you saw a break dancer, you know, like just say you were this amazing break dancer and you're thinking about, okay, I'm a great break dancer. What am I going to do? You got to break dance and you got to be good at marketing yourself or calling yourself or getting people to see. But imagine you're a scout, a talent scout, and you see this dope break dancer and you're like, yo, I need you to perform and I'll take care of the rest type thing. And that's what I'm saying is the rest part. Like you could be easily that dope break. I mean, you are that dope break dancer, but now we're applied in this way because it's an information economy that, so, you know, like what I bring with this Japan thing is that extra thing that if it's something, it's going to get shown to the right people. It's going to get distributed and passed. It's going to, you know, they're going to have a situation where you have people here who are investors, who are business owners, who are thinking, how do I get my product into America? And you're this guy in America that is easily able to see the information, pass it on because you're actually there. And
I have a lot of roots here, which is great because this is my hometown.
Exactly,
it's a growing city. And it has a lot of opportunity for new growth, international business. And when you're in the same place for so long, you know a lot of people. And those roots, even though I might
authenticity. Authenticity.
And I can overnight, I can have something shown to 100 real people within 24 hours. And then they go and tell 10 people. Now 10,000 people know in 2 days.
Okay, but here's the thing too. There's two things. One is authenticity is such a value because people can feel what's real. They know a lie when you say it.
Right.
There's this, right? And it's like, you know a lie too. You can't say something if it's not true. You know what I'm saying? But if it is true, you could blast that shit, right? So making it
helped me build my courage to step out there.
I'm telling you, make it real. But the other thing is, so what was I just saying? Authenticity and
being real human lie detecting. That comes with some of those skills. Come with those kickdowns. Those people.
But totally with this too. Okay, I'm gonna say there's people that you know, right? But there's people that you don't yet know. And actually, you're looking for these people and they're looking for you. And you wouldn't otherwise meet them. So one way you could meet them is to pay money on Facebook to make an ad that would focus on your area. Or another way you could meet them is to really recognize what these 12 categories are and see it as not that you're going there to your business. You're saying, instead of me paying money to Facebook to promote me, this is my word of mouth marketing. And the 12 categories make it so you can meet everybody in your town. Because dude, that's what I'm saying. Is like,
and I gotta put my mind to those areas, and it's you know, I've been asking a lot, and like I pray, and I'll ask, I'm like, hey, what do I do now? Like, what's the first step? What's the first thing? Because I get stuck with, I've got all these, and now I'm, you know, with those, I could take that diagram, do one a day, even go segment to segment to segment.
Telling you,
today's the day I'm going to go out into the world. I'm going to find somebody that works in this category. I'll just go to business and just talk to them. That's not even so much I have to
just
go
talk
in there
to them
with the idea of, hey, I'm going to bring all this to the table, but meet them and know them and
dude,
lift their spirit by just being in that genuine good mood. That a lot of people don't get that. You get a lot of slumber, low vibration.
they're curious. People are curious. You're a young guy. You have something to say, like, look, I have a wife and family. You know, you're a real person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a lifelong resident. I have a wife and family. I'm a freaking upstanding member of this community. What else do you want? You know what I mean? It's
right.
fucking good looking. I've got, you know, I'm healthy. Like, what else do you want? So that factor that's going for you, but then it's also like, you know, there's upfront value you offer just in health, but then you're like also letting people know that, look, health is only one part of it. There's health, wealth, and relationships. This is like a holistic unity type thing that you're recognizing in people. You're almost like a doctor, dietitian that, yeah, I can take you to parts of you. And yes, your health is a big part of it. And almost like, when I told you before about the other day, how when I got home from taking my kids, that bike ride I took out there, and it doesn't matter like where you go, but I could see too how if only people were conditioned to think that me exercising in a gym, because in a gym, it's a certain kind of way. You're not in the nature. It's also very much about the look of somebody, and it's kind of superficial that way. Whereas like if you're on a bike, if you're in the nature, if you're hiking, if you're doing something in the elements, then, you know, there is that, like, I don't know if you've heard of grounding, where people take their shoes off and go out into the
barefoot.
Walking barefoot. You're getting a charge from the world, you know, and it's like, then when you come back to society and then you meet those people who are cooped up, locked up, they also feel that you're bringing this like charge from nature to them. Like, you just see life on so many different levels, and it's not just the surface, but like beneath that. And, you know, that's also too, as a teacher, when you're hearing things, or like a healer, let's say, is like when you're a healer, you know, I think we have the ability to be healers. And, you know, like I see that like an attack on healers in a way, because they don't want healers. They want the healthcare system's way to like be
slave masters and
listen to your doctor, don't trust yourself.
And that's where we can also be on that third side, where we don't have to start a war. We don't have to go make enemies out of the
we're
system.
lucky. We're lucky.
In that healing, I agree. And that healing comes from that, you're talking about raising the vibration, where when we bring other people to just, you know, we just lift their spirits, that is a form of healing. That's that internal start of turning to life. Whereas, you know, scripture would call it like repentance, the turning from a sin, and that relates to raising vibration. They're one and the same.
See, I'm glad you said that, because sin in its translation too has to do with like missing a mark. Like an archer, when he's aiming his arrow, it falls short of the target. And that's what sin kind of is too, and like repentance. Because I know we have this idea of repentance. It's like you're apologizing because you did something that you shouldn't have done. But it's more like you're atoning for the fact that you didn't hit the target of, you know. And in this sense, a target is like, it could be anything. It's not like we're hitting a physical target. It's like we want this feeling we get when we know we hit the target, because we feel the vibrations we hit it. And to feel that vibrations, it has to be making that connection. So like with these 12 people, because each category, there's a person there. Somebody that's waiting for you to connect to. And when you connect, you'll know it in a way, because they're there thinking from their point of view, but they're in there with a perceived pain, a lack of something they're searching for. And they're being told to use money to solve it. and you're there like, hey, I'm actually a consultant and I want to know, you're paying money for these things? How much money are you paying? Oh, I can tell, paying that much money. Whoa, you're paying that a month, a year? Big number. Before you pay this money, I want to tell you about what I'm doing, and don't pay the money. Accept me as a volunteer. I'm a marketer. I'm a marketing genius. I have this network of people that we're sharing international information around. Active people want to come and get involved in Port Richey, investors, new business, but they first need a training. They first need a way. So what we're doing is, if you would let me come here, I'm going to come and just have a kind of like conversation at that place and like get a tour, you know, show us, present to us, like, what are you doing? What's your business? I mean, even if like these kinds of things come into people's minds, they kind of question what they're doing a little bit. Like they never questioned their job. They just heard a job description, accepted it, accepted a salary, go along with it. But the Great Reset,
getting to the higher point, but even the level that we're at doesn't have to be so in your face. Here it is. This is what's up. People don't like that.
But this is the thing.
Extreme, but we use it to help those that are a little lost, but you can see that they have that hole that we can fill that, and that's more than enough for probably most people to give them that piece they're missing and guide them.
It's even more than that. It's Noah's Ark. The rains are coming. This is a great reset. That YouTube has replaced schools and universities. Everything can be done online. If a business right now is in its form that it was before the Great Reset, the business is going to go out of business, is going to be upheaved. They do need to renegotiate everything we do the way we do it, and the sooner it happens, the better. So you're saying you have the ark. You're saying the rains are coming. You're saying you're here to rescue them. So you're going out there not like, hey, we could do this. It's like, yo, you're living in a fantasy right now. If you think this is going to last, like waking people up, like, what? Right. Yeah, like, oh, you know, you're paying these workers. You're not going to have shit for money. Like, they're doing something, getting a salary, draining what little funds you have left. You know, I'm not saying this to them, but I'm telling you straight up, it's like, fire them. And also, people who are getting fired, you're working for this business, start your own business, because this whole, you know, way we were like commuting in our cars and, you know, it's gone, yo. And what we have is actually, you know, okay, we saw this. If you ever heard of QAnon, you heard of QAnon, you know what those people are?
Long time,
Right. Yeah. So that represents, in a way, like a decentralized grid of people passing information. You know, you're getting information, you're sharing it. People are, it's like word of mouth that way. Now, when it was QAnon, it was very tight, basically like Trump, anti-Trump type thing. But now this is just like, you know, like the world sort of, and it's like, what if and like, what if I called you and told you, look, your neighbor has $100, he's going to give it to you, but if I didn't call you, you wouldn't know your neighbor's next door. So it's like these informations that we do create opportunity, and they come word of mouth like this. So you know, I mean, it's like, you know, again, like with the 12 categories, the one thing is like, there's a definite like plan, but two, when you use your sense, maybe one of these categories will jump out at you more than another. You know, like you'll be thinking, like, for example, right, we're talking about categories like, oh shit, I just threw the paper. Okay, so the English as a second language classes. right? How many people do you know learning English as a second language?
I could.
I mean, it's a rhetorical question. It's all right. I'm just saying, is like
there's a lot around here that know Spanish that are becoming kind of new to English or could value in knowing it. That if I went out there, I'm sure I could. Especially online. Online, it's like everywhere learning English.
Right. How do you think they see you? Yeah. When they see you, how do you think they see you? They're probably like, look at this.
That's a great question. I've always wondered that personally. That it's hard because I look at myself probably differently than most people do.
Okay.
And I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
But if you presented yourself to them and said, look, I'm an ally, you have a choice. You control it. You are saying, I'm somebody who's going to help you. And then they see you because they're going to see you and say, he's not like me. I'm like me. He's another type of person. They don't know what's a friend. They don't know what's a foe.
Right. Instead of converting them to be another you're allying, you're working together, taking the best of both. And then you just set the best example for you are how you are, be genuine nature. And that will rub off onto other people. And it's not even so much of transforming them, but more or less, like you said, working together and becoming allies and making the system work and hating that new system that's coming.
Because you have to think, if you have somebody who's in your society, they need things like a phone, like a bank account, like to get set up. And if you don't do it, some government agency is going to do it with people getting paid, and that's the beast system type people. You see, you take you don't let people fall through the cracks where they're going to get eaten up by the beast. That's it. It's like you have the wherewithal, like to think below the system. People need things going like that's what I hate, those marketers. They take for granted people that have $1,000 and their situation going, and they act like, oh, I'm the guru.
You're gonna you see a couple individuals that grind so hard to get that $1,000, and then they float away on a 12-step program that is just like every other one, but we changed the wording a little
bit. And dude, as soon as you give them their money, they're gone. They're on to another customer. They're
not providing individual one-on-one customized for you for your goals. It's the same old copy paste. Here you go.
I swear.
I've tapped into it. And when you look at those ads that cycle through, it's like if you're a thinker, you look at them, you're like, bro, all these ads are more or less the same ad. So I'm assuming the context is probably the same too. It's the same subject matter. So it's not that.
Dude, I've been that idiot that keeps trying, keeps losing his money. Is like, why doesn't it work for me? But the thing is it didn't work for me because I didn't just follow them. Like they assume we're like idiots. Like we weren't doing anything before we met them. Like obviously everybody has something and you've invested in something all this time. You can't just throw it away. But they want you to just throw away your past and be like, okay, now I'm going to be obedient to what you say because you think I want money, but I can't just do things like that. But it's so different when you listen to what people are already doing and you let that be the thing they're doing and you just have the way to take it higher. So I'm saying like, I don't want you to change what you're doing. It's like, I want to know what you're doing because once I know it, I could use it, and it's like, I don't think people are used to that. We're used to thinking that, that's how groups are. When you join a group, they make you like, I might have lost you.
No, I'm here. Here. Sorry about that. I had something on my phone and I moved it for a sec. So hold on. I'm gonna set you down, but I'm still listening. I'm just setting you down just for a second.
No, it's fine. No, because we've been on the phone a long time and I know you got things to do. And I guess nothing will get you know, any questions you have though about like how, because, you know, I know once you get off this call, right, then you have responsibilities, you have your things to do, but tomorrow you have a free day. So I'll be here, and maybe tomorrow we could talk again about what we're actually going to do. And but
I'll
you know,
go through
also
my wheel, and then we'll
yeah, and think about what we talked about
and brainstorm together.
Yeah, and if you got questions or anything, I mean, I bet your wife and kids have needs, you know, your wife has, you know, like these conversations we have with our family, it's like,
right,
you know, but I'm at the point where I'm like, you know, I do want to make money, even though, see, okay, the thing about my situation is my wife has a company, so it's like, it might sound like, you know, I mean, I did work and I had this job as an English teacher, but at the moment I'm at a point where I am taking care of my kids in the house during the day. So it's like, but I have these extra time that I have to develop my company, that when I'm not doing things here, that I have time to go visit people and make meetings. And tomorrow I have a meeting with a company owner where I'm going to be hopefully making new, because I started making new videos. Like I saw one I did on Smart City, one I did about a marketing volunteer, but hopefully the next ones is going to be me visiting some companies. And I have this place here where I'm offering like this Japan training where you could become a Japan ambassador. And not just a Japan ambassador, but you're also an ambassador of your area for Japan. So
for Japan.
Yeah, so when you go to people, when you meet people where you are, you're chiming them into the value of Japan, but you're also letting them know that Japan is getting value from them, and you want to know about them because we're communicating this value to Japanese people that we're using to attract them, because right now travel is stunted, but we could re-engineer travel. And we're not talking about travel from commercial airlines. We could be talking about our own private jets, because Japan makes jets, and
that could be 12 or less people. They could be faster, more fuel efficient.
Exactly. Imagine flying your family on that kind of plane to a place, rather than you guys being all bagged and tagged and masked and tasked, you know, on a commercial flight, you know, so like,
and those flights could even, oh man, those flights could even have a bit of a, you know, a health benefit. You get a little health booster drink while you're on there.
Dude, you could
plays and shows the things that we do, how to everything positive. Yeah,
dude, you could connect us with a customer, someone who does have money to buy a jet, and that you could get commission on that type thing, right? So dude, I'm telling you, our communication is a very unique access.
We have a private airstrip here that could, I can work my way into that.
I'm telling you,
I'm there, that I've worked on their home before, that know me or know my family. I can have that, you know, at least a little bit of rapport with them. And
dude, you make videos,
private fun.
You go to the airport, you make videos with the airport, you're going places. You are a marketer, dude. You are an advertiser. You look around Port Richey, I promise there's going to be magazines with people's business advertised. They pay money to those businesses. That's the oldest publications for advertising. That's the thing, is that
got a couple of sponsored boxes. They're free. You grab one and it's filled with just business.
Yeah, see, it's free to you. Right, it's free to you, but it's not free to the business. The business is paying the magazine. So,
they pay pretty good amount of money for something like that. And it's a gamble. It's a random.
It's a gamble. You could lose all the money.
Right. Somebody might go in there and snag all of them, and then nobody sees them. You never know. It's
exactly, dude. We are a unique
face to face. People are afraid to face these days.
I swear, dude. Only someone with the courage of convictions can face the fire, dude.
Yeah,
And
true. Yeah.
and we only have courage of convictions when we also are not, we don't just move ourselves, we move with our family. We have the weight of the world, we have our ancestors in mind, we have the fact that all this in mind, right? We know other people's pains and how they need us to be successful. It's like we allow ourselves to be feeling things that other people have cut off because they have no way to affect them. To them, it's just depressing. Like, you know, all these problems. What can I do?
Right.
Dude. And even though they're like, dude, I'm hurting. Give me money. It's like, well, I don't have money to give you to help it.
Yeah.
And even if I do give you this money, you'll probably spend it on crack. So what am I going to do?
Right.
But,
especially
but my activity, even a crackhead, I could make a video with him and he could even start on a new path, because the power of making a video with people is the same power when you're rapping and freestyling with people. It's just this like live show, and like just, you know, unexpected value that, you know, they're going to feel it, but they don't know they're going to feel it until they feel it, because you know.
Right. Yeah, brother. Wow.
Dude. All right, man. Dude, it was great talking to you. Thanks for being the guy I talked to today. It's enough, man. Just one person. Yeah, because if we show results, so there's something called the testimonial. Like if I try to sell something and someone read a testimonial from somebody I helped, based on that testimonial, they judge me. So we need the real testimonial from real people.
I bring back to you and you see me succeeding with this, bringing you business, that's all they're gonna need.
Dude, I'm a testimony to you, you're a testimony to me, and that's the best I could have hoped for this time, you know. You turned something that could have been nothing into something that was very valuable for me, man. So I want to thank you so much, dude. You fucking hooked up.
Value out of this, because for me it wouldn't have been valuable to me unless it was mutual. You know, for me, I gained more than I can put into words out of this. I've got insight, I've got that spark to my courage, the steering wheel for my courage. I'm a very courageous person, but
dude, I know
I didn't have direction, you know. I was all over before this.
I know, dude. And I think we're the right distance apart too, because, you know, it's like when we see diversity as strength, it's not just skin color. It is these different elements of diversity. And so a 41-year-old me and a 31-year-old you, but then it's like there's a Japanese thing, and like there will be women that get on board too, you know what I'm saying? But there are like, you know, diverse points, but we have this foundation that I feel very comfortable with. That's like the beat march, the making the beat that other people get on. And you know, jazz, my dad got me into jazz, and like there's different, we even have jazz leadership versus classical music leadership, and has to do with people also. Like when you're in a jazz quartet, you do have the structure, but you do also have your time to solo. When it's your time to solo, you solo. And
might give a little story. I'm gonna save it for next time though, but I got a story next time to tell you about jazz. But
dude,
hold on.
Yep. All right, we're gonna talk again, man. And tomorrow, keep me in mind. You call me anytime, man. I'm telling you. Thank you so much, Vox. You're the man.
Thank you, brother. Take care.
Love to your family. Yep, you got it.
Take care, bro.
Peace.
Peace.